All right, good morning, everybody. I am happy to welcome you all this morning to our webinar. For those familiar with the Prestige webinar series, and for those maybe not so familiar, my name is Jason Flynn, and I'm the Director of Human Resources and Client Services for Prestige PEO, and I will be your moderator for the webinar this morning. As we continue to discuss open enrollment and benefit plans, I am happy to have back Kathleen Sullivan, who is the Associate Director of the Benefits Department for Prestige. And we'll also have Andy Lubash. I'm happy to welcome him back as well. He'd like to say a few words as we kick things off on the webinar this morning. So, as we get into it, I know we have a packed schedule this morning as we're going through open enrollment again. Obviously a hot topic right now as everybody's going through this. And since we started talking about open enrollment last week, Kathleen is going to do a quick review of what was discussed during last week's webinar, just to get everybody back up to speed, and it's always good to have that refresher. We'll explain the process, how everything will work, and the steps that clients and employers are going to need to take as they go through this open enrollment process. There are some changes to the benefit plans that will be reviewed, and then Kathleen is going to take you through some new information relating to the Emblem Health plans. Then, after discussing the disability and life insurance options, we'll provide a sample employee presentation before we wrap up things with the webinar this morning with an enrollment question and answer period. So just as a reminder, all participants will be muted throughout the webinar. If you do have a question that you'd like to present to the team here, please use the Q&A feature through the webinar. That'll be directed to the panelists. Of course, we're going to do our best to answer all the questions that come in. However, if any are missed or we need to look into anything a little further, we will get back to you separately. Also, a copy of the presentation as well as a recording of the webinar will be on the Prestige PEO website. With that said, I'd like to turn things over to Andy Lubash, who would like to say a few words.
Good, you did unmute me. All right, welcome everybody. Good morning. And again, thank you for taking the time to attend our weekly webinars. Again, this is a little bit different. This one's not about what's happening in the legislative world and the world of ever-changing laws and back to work and PPP loans and so forth. This is our open enrollment. And again, one thing I want to say is, again, thank you to everybody at the Prestige team for working to get us to this point. Open enrollment is not an easy process. Negotiating with the carriers is not an easy process. Again, we happen to be one of the few PEOs that actually comes out of the benefits world. So again, we're a bit more familiar with it. And again, as you know, being very active in APO, you know, as I discuss, you know, hey, how did you do to my peers year after year? And again, this is not bragging, but we do come out with lower renewals and lower increases on a consistent basis than any of our peers. They always ask us, how do we do it? But again, it's a team effort. It's the knowledge and the depth of knowledge of the partners of Prestige, as well as our benefit staff, which again is unique to the PEO industry. So again, thanks again to everybody for getting us to this point. Couple of important things also to mention with regards to the benefit department and Kathleen and Teresa and her team. Again, your benefit specialist is there for you. Very few PEOs have what we have in the benefit specialist. We don't want you or your employees to be contacting insurance companies with questions and issues that happen on a day-to-day basis. Hey, I got a bill in the mail. What do you mean? My copay is supposed to be $25. Where's this $85 bill coming from? Call your benefit specialist. They'll work with you to get that fixed. We deal with a different division of the insurance company than you do if you call that 800 number. You call the 800 number at the insurance company, and if someone was just literally joking with me about this 5 minutes ago, you can ask the same question 3 times and get 3 different answers, and all 3 answers be wrong. So again, we deal with a different division of the carrier. So again, we're familiar with a lot of the nuances. It is a very visible part of what you do. Okay, it's a big spend. Everybody takes pride in the benefits that they offer to their employees and the choices. One of the reasons you're with Prestige. So again, you know, a lot of our peers do not have a benefits department like we do. And again, we encourage you to make sure that your employees access these people so you get the most value on your benefit dollar, okay? The renewal is also the result of a lot of feedback over the years. Again, we speak to a lot of employees, employers. We take all your recommendations, your accolades, your criticisms about what could be done better into each open enrollment. So again, anytime we can make a couple of plan tweaks that may be something that you find beneficial, we're more than happy to do that. Also, other additional products, sometimes people come to us and say, hey, can't you offer that? And again, as you know, I'm out in the field with a lot of you. I'm not a CEO that sits inside the office all day long. So again, I hear it as well. So again, suggestions are always welcome. It only makes us better. Okay, so again, as you know my contact information. Again, my email address is alubash, ALUBASH, @prestigepeo.com. My cell number is 516-680-5021. And my office number direct, bypassing our switchboard, is 917-258-0223. So again, any suggestions or anything that you want to pass along, it only helps all of us, makes us all better. I welcome them. I look forward. Those of you that have already reached out to me on other topics know that, yes, I do pick up the phone. I do answer you. So again, without further ado, I guess I'll turn it over to Kathleen. I've had the privilege of working with Kathleen for a number of years. For those of you who have met her, know that she's got extensive knowledge in the benefits arena, even though I make fun of her on a regular basis. That's my sign of affectionate love, when I make fun of you. But she really is very knowledgeable. She's very committed to the process. She's always there for employees and employers, and is a wealth of information. So, Kathleen, that's the last time I'm complimenting you, by the way. Only kidding. All right, so let me turn it over to Kathleen. And again, everyone, stay well, stay safe, and hope to speak to you next week. All right, Eric, you guys can put me on mute, and we'll applaud.
Thank you, Andy. Yes, that is his sign of affection. And yes, we've been working together for a lot of years now. So, okay, with that information, let's dive into today's presentation. I'm going to go back a slide. So today we're going to do a quick review of last week's webinar, just some of the important points, the process, how things work, what clients and their employees need to do. We're going to go over some of the changes to Oxford, to Emblem, United Healthcare, and Assurant Dental. A little bit of new information on Emblem, new even from last week. I did include LTD and STD this week because we didn't go over that at all last week, but I do want brokers on these calls to have a full perspective of what's offered through Prestige, and I also want client managers. This meeting is for brokers and for client managers, and the hope is that you're going to get information that's going to be helpful for you in communicating with your clients if you're a broker, and communicating with your employees if you're a client manager. Okay, we're going to go through a sample presentation. What our benefit specialists can do with clients. They run open enrollment meetings every year. So for new clients, you might not have seen this yet, but it's very similar to when your employees came on board with us. It's just an update, a little bit of added information, and to make sure employees have all the information they need to make their changes and make their elections. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll go over a Q&A. So some questions came up last week. I want to make sure we address everything. Okay, let's dive in. Last week, we went over the process. So steps, this is what's going to happen exactly. Right now, enrollments, renewals are going out. So renewals are going to the clients and to brokers. You should get an open enrollment letter that's going to go over a lot of the things that we're addressing in the meeting today. You're also going to get an interactive renewal grid that shows the plans and the classes and the rates and the employee counts. And that grid gives the clients an opportunity to keep the same percentage for contribution that they offer, change it, keep the same flat dollar. With this grid, you can sort of make changes and adjustments and see what's going to work for you. And as you make those changes or make those elections on each plan, it's calculating it based on where your employees are covered right now. So I think that you'll find this really helpful. We really worked hard on this open enrollment grid this year to make it valuable. Okay. Once those decisions are made, the clients are going to send back those renewal grids all populated to the benefit specialists so that they can get things set up, and then we can send emails to the employees. Okay, open enrollment for the employees. So this is their opportunity to make changes too. They're going to get an email from Prestige Pro, no reply at Prestige PEO. Each employee is going to be invited to the enrollment portal, and then they'll be taken from screen to see the medical, the dental, the vision, and then at the end they'll see a confirmation. If there's anything they didn't select, it'll show in red. They have to either waive or elect on each page, and when they're done, they're going to hit submit and sign off, and then they're done with their open enrollment period. Okay, so we're going to talk about Emblem Health. Now, last week I did mention 6 plans, but we really are offering 5 plans now. So the plans are all going to have the HIP, plans 2 to 5 are going to have the HIP Prime network, and plan 6 is going to offer the HIP Select network. Currently, employees who are covered on Emblem are going to be mapped over to the closest plan that's compatible with what they currently have. And let's look at the menu a little bit here. Okay, so on here you see plans 2, 3, 4, and 5. So plan 2 is a rich benefit. That's more of like a platinum plan. No deductible on this plan, $30 copay for regular doctors, and $30 copay for specialists. This is going to run with the HIP Prime network and be our richest plan. The next plan is more of a gold. It has a $1,000 deductible in the network, which does not apply to everything. Also has the $30 copay for both primary care physicians and specialists. Very good plan. Next plan is a silver, plan 4. So this has a slightly bigger deductible. Not as many things are subject to that deductible, so still a very good plan. And then plan 5 is the high deductible plan. You don't see plan 6 on here, but it is the same as plan 2, only with HIP's Select network, which is a smaller network. So you're going to see a good price point on that plan as renewals go out, but it is less expensive because it is using a more limited network, HIP Select network. So if employees are looking at that, we want to definitely recommend that they check with their doctors and make sure they're in that network. Otherwise, the 4 plans here, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are all using HIP Prime network. Outside of our area, they're going to have access to First Health. So in the past, we once used MultiPlan for the national network. Now it's going to be the First Health network. It's another important point. Okay. With that, flip one more page. Thanks, Jay. Very important. All of the Emblem enrollees are also getting new ID numbers and new cards effective November 1st. So I want to make sure everybody knows that, where they can look for networks. And Emblem also has exercise reward program. If you visit the gym 50 times inside of 6 months, you can be reimbursed up to $200, and a spouse who's covered on the plan can be reimbursed up to $100. I just want to mention it because we mentioned it about Oxford, and it is a nice benefit. They also have discount programs for weight loss and vitamins and health. So that's Emblem. Okay. So we talked about Oxford last week, and the biggest change for Oxford is on their New York plans. There is now going to be coverage for infertility. There was a little bit of coverage mandated in New York, which was mostly the testing, but now it's a real benefit. So for infertility, it is mandated that advanced infertility services are covered. They're going to cover up to 3 cycles of in vitro fertilization, and they are going to cover the storage related to those three services of in vitro fertilization. So that's important. There used to be a age restriction also, or at least a limitation that won't be allowed anymore. So I'm not guaranteeing coverage on this for Oxford, but the coverage is in place on the plan. So there may be other circumstances where things are not approved, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows this is a mandate in New York, and all plans in New York will now have this advanced fertility coverage. Okay, other change, big change, was that Oxford members are also going to get new ID numbers and cards because the Oxford platform is changing to United Healthcare. So employees are going to go to the United Healthcare website going forward from 11/1 on, and that's where they're going to find that information. With that change comes an enhanced customer service experience for the employees, hopefully. They're going to see a mobile application called Health for Me. They're going to have programs like Quit for Life, personalized support for quitting smoking. They're going to have programs for weight loss called Real Appeal. And Oxford has Sweat Equity. So their gym reimbursement program expands beyond just your regular standard gym. They recognize things like rock climbing and kickboxing and Orange Theory, which is really hard. I went to Orange Theory once for just one. They give you a free session of that. I thought I would die. It was pretty tough, but they do recognize that for the gym reimbursement. And it's $200 for the subscriber, as long as they go 50 times inside the 6 months, $100 for spouses, and new this year, they are going to do gym reimbursement for dependent children, 13 years and up. So that's brand new on Oxford, and a nice benefit that comes with that change over to the United Healthcare platform. You can be reimbursed up to $100 for the gym membership for your children if you can push them out of the house and get them to go to the gym 50 times inside of 6 months. Okay. Last week we talked briefly about United Healthcare. United Healthcare is our national plan. So when we write groups that are across the country, not necessarily based in New York or New Jersey or Connecticut, they are often looking at the United Healthcare national plans. And there is a plan called CORE. We have some options called CORE plans that are lower premiums, and United Healthcare expanded that network. So we are showing this map of where you can write CORE plans. This is more for brokers than it is for client managers, just information that might be helpful. United Healthcare does offer what we call premier plans and primary advantage plans. Other than the plans that use CORE, the network is the United Healthcare Choice Plus network for the rest of the plans. It's the best United Healthcare network they have. Next. We talked about Assurant last week. Not a big change to Assurant, but they did make some changes on their New York plan. Assurant is a dental plan, our DHMO plan that correlates with our MetLife DHMO plan, but is offered in more states than the MetLife is. So, but the New York plans, next page. They upgraded this year, and the new coverages include benefits for implants and coverage for procedures performed by specialists in standard coverage. So that wasn't always the case with them. You can see the states that Assurant is offered in, and the prices for Assurant are very reasonable. So it's a nice option for employees to have a dental plan that's not a fortune. Okay, so we didn't talk about this at all last week, but we do offer 4 short-term disability plans through Prestige. So if you are a client manager and you don't currently have a short-term disability plan, you may want to consider that, and you are welcome to reach out to your benefits specialist or your sales representative to get proposals or quotes on this. But we have 4 levels of benefit for our short-term disability plans. These are weekly benefits, so it's $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, or $2,500. And the 2,000 and the 2,500 are new. Those came out between last year's open enrollment and this year's. So those are new options. For our LTD, we also didn't talk about this last week, but I wanted to make sure that brokers and clients know we have a pretty big array of LTD plans. We have 8 plans offered for LTD. So the first 4 offer a monthly benefit of up to $10,000. The differences in these plans are kind of minimal. You'll see the difference in the elimination period, whether it's 90 days or 180 days, and you'll also see a difference in when the benefit pays until. So on some of the plans, like Plan 1, you'll see benefit duration period says RBD or SSNRA, which is this plan is going to pay until normal retirement age. That's a great LTD benefit and a great plan. The one next to it will pay benefits for LTD for 5 years, for up to 5 years. So that's the difference in those first 2 plans. Same for plans 3 and 4, but they have a 90-day elimination period. So I just want to make sure people know what they're looking at and why the difference is. Plans 5 and 6 are a lower benefit, just a $2,000 monthly benefit, and one goes to normal retirement age, one goes to 5 years. But the bigger difference on these 2 plans is whether they're going to pay according to somebody's own occupation or any occupation. So on plans 5 and 6, it's a good benefit. It's LTD, $2,000 a month, but an employee will get paid up to 2 years for their own occupation, and after that, they'll want them to be not able to do any occupation in order to keep being paid on those plans. That's the difference. All right, 7 and 8, these are richer plans, and again, these are brand new. So these came out between last year's open enrollment and this year's. These have a $15,000 benefit monthly. So both are the same, both go to retirement age. The only difference between 7 and 8 is the elimination period. But these are great plans. We also came out with some life insurance plans since last year, some higher end benefits for clients that need that. We have a life insurance plan now with 2 times the salary up to $1.5 million. We also have a life insurance plan with 3 times the salary up to $750,000 benefit. So I just want to make sure. In the past, our limits were $325,000 for most of our plans, so those are big jumps. Okay, that's it on the new information. Now we're going to go through a sample open enrollment presentation. And while I go through that, we'll touch on some of the new products because that's what our benefit specialists will do. They'll touch on some of the new products and explain those to the employees so they know what they're looking at. This is a service we provide. Andy gave a very nice compliment to our benefits team, and I know that is unique to Prestige to have benefit specialists that are well-versed and can go over things with the employees. So if you're a new employer, please feel free to reach out and set up meetings. The benefits team is ready to help. It is a very busy time of year, so I'm hoping that after this seminar, some of you are well-versed enough to moonlight as Prestige employees and help out our benefits team, because we could certainly use the help this time of year. Okay, here we go. So open enrollment. Benefit specialists are going to talk to your employees about exactly what open enrollment is, what kind of changes they can make, what kind of timing, when things are take effect. So our open enrollment date is November 1st. I know I mentioned that probably a lot more last webinar, but it's definitely November 1st. So changes employees make will take effect on November 1st. This is the time of year for employees to change the dependents that they're covering, change their plans, upgrade their dental, whatever it is they want to do, add new benefits that they maybe previously had waived. This is that time of year for employees, and we'll go over that. It's important to know that for our medical plans, Deductibles reset in January. Actually, that's the same for our dental, for the benefit maximums. They reset in January. So what that means is it's a little complicated. We have November renewal. So if you were changing plans, let's look at the medical plan when we go through that in detail. But if you're changing plans and your deductible goes up, you're going to have that increased deductible when that change happens November 1st. But what you've met already throughout the year is going to carry over from one plan to the next, and it won't reset to the full deductible until January. That's how our plans work. So visits also start in January. So if you have a plan where there's 60 visits for occupational therapy and physical therapy and speech therapy, that resets in January too. So just want to know that the plans themselves actually run on a calendar year. Okay. This will tell the employees what to expect as far as the email and what they can, how they enroll. They go through the portal, they go from plan to plan. We talked about that already. It also has a link for the flexible spending account. So as they go through our open enrollment portal, they're going to have a link to make their elections for flexible spending, which also runs on a calendar year and has to be reelected every year. So elections for FSA, that's very important. Employees ask about this. Often they want to keep whatever they did last year in place, but that won't happen automatically. There has to be a new election made. Some employees are going to have trouble getting into the portal. So maybe they forgot their password, maybe they don't know their username. So the employee self-service portal, if you're a client manager, you can see what the employee's username is right on their main screen as you're looking in there. But you can also refer the employees to us. They can call us. And if they don't remember their password, they can reset it or we can reset it. So they can talk to a benefit specialist. They do have to be on the phone. Client managers will not be able to reset an employee's password. Only the employee can do that. So with us, we can help with that. Okay, this is brand new, and we'll be telling employees about this. This is our open enrollment microsite, and I think it's going to be very helpful for both employees and client managers. There are 2 tabs you'll see when you get to the main screen on this, and that will take you through. Client managers, it's going to kind of give you an overall of the process and what to expect. And what I think will be very valuable in there is it tells you how to run a report right out of our system to see the status of employees going through open enrollment. So if you want to know how many people logged in, who's in process, who's completed, you can run a report like that every day if you want. And the instructions to do that are right in this portal, this microsite. Employees are going to get kind of more information on a lot of the plans that we're offering. Some of the new products, some of the plans that have been in place, they can look at benefit summaries that are a little more in depth than what they can see as they're going through the portal. So I think it'll be very helpful for them too to gather more information as they're making decisions. Okay, so this is just a sample. When our benefit specialists come out to talk to the employees, they're going to have a page with benefits, the benefits that you in particular offer, and it's going to show the employees their cost. So this is a typical menu. This is an Oxford menu. It happens to have just 5 plans, but a benefit specialist will be able to go through and compare one plan to the next and give employees enough information that they can really make an informed decision. So I think this is really helpful, and this is really the meat of the open enrollment meetings. Medical is always the most important. It's also the most complicated. So the benefit specialists are going to spend the most time going through the medical for the employees and answering questions and helping to give them information. Okay. We're going to let the employees know about the new ID cards and the new ID numbers. So that's important. We also give them information on where to see doctors. Now that changed a little bit since we're moving to the UHC platform. That's where they're going to look for their doctors. And as we go through, we'd tell them about the new dependent children coverage for the gym membership. Next. Employees will learn about the real appeal, the Quit for Life, the virtual visits that are covered. Oxford plans Freedom and Liberty don't have any referrals needed. Benefit specialists would talk to the employees about the national network that comes with our Oxford plans, which is the United Healthcare Choice Plus network. So that's a question that comes up often. What if my employee is visiting California or Oklahoma or Ohio? Are they still covered? And they are. They're covered on the United Healthcare Choice Plus network. If your company offers a high deductible plan, then the benefit specialist can go into detail about how high deductible plans work with our health savings account plans. So this is a great benefit, and it's definitely complicated, tough for client managers to explain to their employees, tough even for brokers to explain to their employees. But it's such a great benefit, especially for the young and healthy in your company. So if you offer a high deductible plan, we want to encourage those employees to tuck money aside into a health savings account. Sometimes employers also contribute there, and we kind of go through these plans and how they work and what all those benefits are to having a health savings account plan. They really are a great deal. We call them triple tax benefit because money goes in pre-taxed, grows in interest, no tax, and rolls from year to year. That money can be used for anything at age 65. You would pay tax on the money, but no penalty. And up until then, that money can be used for anything the IRS deems qualified medical expenses. So HSA, high deductible plans with HSAs is a great benefit. This is just a little more information that we talk to employees about. If they do have a health savings account, you are limited on a flexible spending account, so we would let employees know that. They can still have a flexible spending account, but it would be a limited flex spending account, which would allow them only to use it for dental and vision. Okay. The dental plans. So we talked a little bit about MetLife's dental plans last week. Many of our groups offer all 4 plans. I mentioned that the enhanced plan is our best. That's the second plan option here. And last year there was a change to this plan that allowed periodontics and endodontics to be covered at 80%. Instead of previously it was covered at 50%. So that's a really nice benefit. This enhanced plan also has a $5,000 per member max benefit per year. So that's a great benefit. The plan next to it to the left, premium, that has $2,000 per member. Both of those plans, premium and enhanced, have great coverage both in and out of network. So on these 2 plans, you can see any dentist you want, and you're going to be covered very well. They cover out of network according to what they call UCR, or usual and customary, and that's very good in the dental world. The standard plan, to the right of the enhanced plan, that has in and out of network coverage. It has $1,000 annual benefit per year, but when you go out of network on that plan, they're going to pay according to what they call a MAC schedule, so a maximum allowable charge schedule. That's the big difference between the standard plan and the other 2, premium and enhanced. When you go out of network, there's a little less coverage. The reimbursement won't be quite as good as UCR reimbursement. And then, of course, the final plan is the MetLife DHMO, which is a good option, an inexpensive option for employees, and everything on that plan is paid according to a schedule. You are restricted to choosing an DHMO dentist and seeing that dentist, where you're not restricted on the other 3 plans. All right, so we're going to show employees the useful information for MetLife, where they would find their DHMO provider, because they would need to choose that if they went on that plan. And the network for the other plans is PDP Plus. We give some phone numbers on here. And MetLife does have a discount vision service too. So we have vision coverage, but there's a discount included. Okay, UHC vision, this is pretty simple and standard. We talk about the UHC vision plan. We talk about that eye exams are covered once a year for a $10 copay, that lenses are covered once a year, a $25 copay. There is some out-of-network coverage on these plans, but you're much better off if you can stay in-network. Just moving quick. Sorry, just having a little technical difficulty. There we go. Okay, so helpful information on the United Healthcare Vision. This is separate from your medical. So everything that we talked about for the employees is independent election. So an employee can enroll on medical and waive dental and waive vision, or they can enroll as a family on medical and then take vision only as employee and spouse, and dental as employee and children if they want. Everything is independent from each other, so we would let employees know that, and that's important to know. The United Healthcare Vision uses a Spectera network in addition to the UHC Vision Network, and they also have Warby Parker. So I usually bring that up because I like Warby Parker. I think they make everybody look great in glasses. So. Okay, next. FSA. So our partner for FSA is Task, and this is important to a lot of employees. Everybody kind of knows what an FSA is, but we'll explain to the employees that this is a way for employees to put their own money aside on a pre-tax basis to cover unreimbursed medical expenses. We had a few changes this year. The limit went up to $2,750. That may change again for the medical side by the time we get to January 1. We usually get that information very late. And unused funds, our plan has a rollover option, and unused funds was $500. That changed to $550 this year. So employees can roll over from 2020 to 2021 up to $550. On the medical side of FSA, the plans are use it or lose it. So employees need to be cognizant, and they want to be conservative. The money you put into your flexible spending account should be money you expect to spend. It's not a savings account. So we try to make that very clear. They can enroll on the Task website up until December 13th. So the Task portal will be open from October 1st till December 13th. And then if they missed it, if they forgot, they can reach out to their benefit specialist and they can give us a paper enrollment from the 13th until the end of December to still elect FSA for 2021. We don't want to restrict them. We just have to have that portal open for only a limited amount of time. Okay. There is also the dependent care flexible spending account. So there's another account which allows you to put up to $5,000 aside to pay for dependent care expenses. Now that's daycare. So that's going to be child care for kids up to age 13. Again, this is money that you're expecting to spend. Let's switch one more page. On the medical side, the FSA is available right away. So if an employee elects to put $2,000 in their FSA for the year of 2021, and February 1st, they have surgery and they have a deductible of $1,000, even though we maybe only took $50 from their paycheck so far, by the time we get to February 1, they'll have access to the full $2,000. So it's front loaded or available immediately. The dependent care doesn't work that way. So on the dependent care side, employees have access only to the money that's already been deducted and put into the account. And they're going to spend that on daycare. Okay, here's a few more plans offered. MetLife critical illness, accident, and hospital. As employees go through the portal, they're going to see these plans. The plans have high and low options. They'll see the prices. They can cover their family or just themselves. And these are kind of like LifeLock plans. So they're plans where if you have an accident, they're going to give you money that you can use towards paying bills. Doesn't necessarily need to be spent on doctors or hospitals or anything like that. These are just plans where you get money to manage your expenses. Last week I talked about MassMutual. So this is a whole life policy that's very unique to Prestige, and employees will see a link to the MassMutual portal as they go through, and they can elect whole life policies. Now, whole life is a little more expensive than the term policies, but the rates don't change. So if you sign up when you're 30 years old, you're going to get a very good rate, and that rate's going to stay the same. Next page. These plans build cash value too. So if you enroll in a whole life policy, you're going to have your benefit right away, but over time, the plan is going to build cash value that can either be added to your benefit or it can be taken and spent. It's a nice benefit. Eventually, the plan could pay for itself. It's a really nice option, the whole life. And to have it through your employer where deductions are taken right out of your pay is also a nice benefit. That's good. When first hired, there was a guarantee issue amount of up to $100,000. Every year after that, employees can elect up to $250,000 more to add to their whole life policy. This plan is fully portable. So if you leave your place of work, you can keep your MassMutual whole life policy just the way it is. So that's a really nice benefit also. All right, this is brand new, and we talked about it last week, and we're definitely going to have this in the presentation so that employees know, but we have LifeLock now. Last week I didn't have the prices on there. I do today because these are really competitive pricing. There's 2 levels of LifeLock policies. There's slight differences in the coverage. It's LifeLock and Norton antivirus, so that's pretty good. Some of the differences between the plans are going to be how many devices are protected by the Norton piece. It's also, one of the differences is also going to be whether they run annual credit reports or whether they send alerts for checking accounts and savings accounts. But both levels are very good, and I think employees are going to like these plans. These rates are very competitive in the market. You would not be able to get these rates on your own. This comes through Prestige, so it's a nice benefit that employees are going to see. Between last open enrollment and this open enrollment, FinFit is also a new product that became available to employees. This is a great tool for financial fitness. Employees can get financial coaching. They can also get loans, and they can come up with a plan. So I mentioned, I think, that every financial professional that you talk to will tell you that you have to have a plan. If you want to send your kids to college someday, you want to retire someday, you want to buy a home, you got to have a plan. And this is really nice to have financial coaching through FinFit. Okay. The MetLaw legal program. So this is like a legal shield. We've had this for a few years. It's popular with people, especially people who have maybe teenage drivers, or older parents. There's a lot of things that are covered under this prepaid legal plan. It's $18 a month. Employees are going to see it as they go through the portal, and they can either elect it or waive. But if you're buying a home, if you need some help on elder care, this is pretty good. If you want to have a will drawn up, these are decent plans. Okay. All right, home stretch now. Prestige PEO discount programs. So I just kind of wanted to give a clear picture of all the things that come with Prestige, and some of those things are partnerships with Nationwide for pet insurance. We have some really good plans, unique, again, to Prestige. Our Nationwide pet insurance plans, we have plans with well care included. So most pet insurance plans only cover emergencies. and they have deductibles, but our nationwide plans, we have two options. So one of them can cover actually all your well visits and shots for your puppy or kitten or rabbit or whatever you have. And you'll see the prices are good on the nationwide, and the coverage is very good. We also partner with LifeLock. So a lot of times employees are looking for a short-term disability policy that they can pay for themselves, or even a long-term that's offered on a voluntary basis, and AFLAC might be a good option for that. They do offer short-term disability income policies, but those policies can go as long as 2 years. So that's unique for a short-term disability income policy for it to extend more than 26 weeks, but they can extend even up to that far. If employees were interested, they call up AFLAC, they set up their plan, and then AFLAC lets Prestige know so we can take those deductions right through payroll, seamless and smooth. We also have discount programs with Working Advantage, Plum benefits, and retail benefits. All of those discount programs are just corporate discounts that employees have access to. Employees that have been with us for a long time might not remember, or if they weren't just hired, they maybe didn't see this, so we try to bring it up and show them at open enrollment so that everybody gets to take advantage of these things. Okay. In closing, for the employees, we'd let them know, open enrollment. Now, our employees, it is from October till the end of October, October 1st to October 31st, but most employees are going to get emails inviting them to the portal, and I mentioned some dates on that. A lot of employees will get emails on the 6th. Some will get them on the 9th of October, and for groups that offer Emblem, it may be a little bit later. But employees will all have at least a month to make their selections. We hope for employees to make all their elections by the end of October, but if we go into November a little bit, they just have to reach out to their benefit specialist who can extend their time. So I don't want anybody to be panicked that they're not going to have time to make their elections. They can just reach out to the benefit specialist if their portal closes, but they don't have an unlimited amount of time. All changes do need to be made by November 15th, okay? So we're going to have those portals open and employees. Now, FSA, we said, has to be done by the end of December, and if you're making those elections, the FSA elections on the portal, that's by December 13th. Employees can call that hotline that you see here, 1-833-PEO-BEN1 for assistance if they can't get into their portal. If they need that extension of time, they can call, or if they have questions. They can also call the benefit specialist. Okay, so that's it for the employee presentation. Sorry, a little tongue-tied this morning. I'm going to blame Andy, even though it's really not his fault.
Be careful, I'll give you another compliment. So, yeah, no, thank you, Kathleen. Listen, Kathleen in the benefits department, we see running around here all day long, at least the ones that are here and the ones that are working virtually, but it is a tireless period for them, and they do a fantastic job. So we wanted to bring this out to everybody today to give them a bit more knowledge around the open enrollment process, not only the information behind it, but more of the process on what you as an employer and your employees need to do moving forward. And the more knowledge that we put out there, the easier it is for everybody to go through this. But more than that, the support is always here to help all of you go through this process. So I urge you to lean on us. I urge you to use the hotline and let us do the work for you. Let us make your life easier. So with that being said, we're going to enter into the interactive part of the webinar, which is really just a couple of slides on some Q&As, questions and answers that we find come in that we wanted to bring out to everybody. Now, I'd say I'd give you a prize for getting all the answers right, but I know that Kathleen already knows all the answers, so that would be unfair. But what I will do is go through the questions here, and we can go through and answer them for everybody that's on the line right now. So I will start off with the first question, which states, if employees do not want to make any changes to their enrollment, do they need to go on to the portal?
So we strongly recommend that employees go through the portal because we want them to see the new costs for them and any of the new products that are offered. But if an employee did not go through the portal, they would be left on their current plans. Now, the only difference for that is if an employee is covered on Emblem, they'll be mapped over to the closest plan, but they might not see the other plan options and they might not be happy with the price structure. Because those plans are changing. We are migrating employees on the Emblem plans from what they had to our new products. Closest one to match, but we want to make sure. So while we strongly recommend employees go through, and some employers may want to require that of their employees, that they go through, employees will not be dropped off of their coverage by Prestige if they don't go through the portal.
Right, yeah, and we've definitely made it as easy and as user-friendly as possible for employees to go through this process. It's a never-ending process to make things easier on the client's end and the employee's end. And as I mentioned last week, we start preparations for next year's open enrollment, the second this year's open enrollment ends. So it's always in the top of our mind to make it easier, but definitely we want employees to go through the portal. All right, next question. Can employees still use their ID cards from the last plan year?
So in the past, the answer to this was yes, but this year, the answer is no. They cannot keep using their ID cards from last year because everybody is getting new ID numbers and new cards, at least on the medical side, and we're talking on the medical side for this year. So if you're covered on Oxford or you're covered on Emblem, you are getting a new ID number and a new card, and that card needs to be used starting 11/1. If you need help with that, you can reach out to the benefits specialist. They can give you your new ID numbers so that you can register on the website and print a card for yourself if you don't receive it by 11/1, but that's very important. So we were not going to continue to use old cards. Everybody is getting new cards for medical.
All right. Next question we have on this slide is, will we get a comparison between the current benefits and the renewal based on our contribution amounts?
So that's a good question. As employees go through the portal, they're going to see their current elected plans. So, and they'll see a summary of it in the beginning of the portal, and then they'll see it as they go through from screen to screen. So they'll see what the plan costs if they were to stay on the plan they have, and then they can see the costs if they were to change plans. And as they run through the portal, in the top right corner will be sort of a summary of their costs, and that'll keep rolling from one plan to the next. It'll give them a tally of what the monthly cost will be for them.
Perfect. As we slide on to this last page of questions, first one we have on this slide states, are deductibles based on a calendar year or a plan year?
So I did mention this, but I'll go into detail on it a little bit more. On the medical plans, everything runs on a calendar year. The same for the dental plans. So that was definitely a question that I saw come through last week. On the medical plans, deductibles reset January 1. We did talk about last week that high deductible plans are the exception, that if an employee is moving from a regular plan to a high deductible plan or vice versa, from a high deductible plan to a regular traditional plan, they have the opportunity to make that change either November 1st or January 1st. And the reason being, because the deductibles reset in January, we don't want employees to be hurt by that. But everything resets January, so that's deductibles and visits, and for dental, annual maximums. Those all reset January 1st.
All right, next question states, is the annual maximum benefit, I clicked it too soon. Now everybody has the answer already. Does the annual maximum benefit for dental run on a calendar year or a plan year?
So I'm just gonna give one example. So say you're covered currently on our MetLife Premier plan, and you have a $2,000 annual max. But you know you're going to have big dental work, so come November 1st, you're going to move to the enhanced plan. Well, your plan, had you used the $2,000 already on your premium plan, that's going to change effective November 1. You're not going to have the full $5,000, but you will have the additional $3,000. So if you move from MetLife's Premier Plan to MetLife's Enhanced Plan November 1, you will have the additional benefit, and then the full benefit will reset in January. So come January for the Enhanced Plan, you'd have the full $5,000. Good question.
All right, and the last question we have here is, can Prestige meet with my staff to talk about the new offerings?
So that's kind of what brought us to the idea of running a sample employee presentation today. A lot of employers reached out and wanted to have a presentation for their employees, and yes, we do that. Benefits specialists will coordinate. Once we have employers' decisions, we can create new menus for those employees, show them their costs, and do the presentation that you already saw today for your employees. Everything is virtual this year, but in the past we'd come out to clients' offices and do those presentations in person. So hopefully we'll be back to that next year.
Yeah, we definitely miss the on-site meetings and having the ability to see all of our employees and our clients and going through it in person. But we do have the ability to do it virtually. I can say the specialists that we have in the benefits department are absolutely fantastic. They know their information inside and out, and they are right there willing to help and give everybody that personal type of attention that they need to make this really important decisions. I know some people just kind of use it as a turnkey, renew what they have and move on, but a lot of others really dig into this and need to make some important decisions, and the benefit specialists are there to help you and to guide you through everything. So again, please utilize us. Call in using the hotline, call into your specialist, and let us help guide you and your employees through this process. Kathleen, thank you again for spending so much time with us, and for everybody on the line here today to go through the open enrollment process. We certainly want to make sure the information gets out to everybody. But beyond that, as we normally wrap things up, please stay tuned for client communications that come out to everybody with a lot of information that's going to center around not just open enrollment, but regulatory measures. Certainly it's going to touch on some COVID-19 measures. So a lot of information we're going to continue to push out to everybody to make sure you are well informed and know who to talk to here within Prestige. As I mentioned, this slide deck, as well as a recording of the webinar, will be on our website. So if you had to jump off, or if you wanted to take another listen of what we're going through today, please hop onto the website, take a look at the recording, which should be logged on later today or tomorrow morning, but the slide deck should be on soon as well. Thank you, everybody, for taking some time out of your morning to share this hour with us, and we look forward to sharing another webinar with you soon. Take care.